Hello, I'm Riley, and this is my classroom management plan. So I think we have all learned from the videos that we have watched through this class and reading Wong's First Days of School book. We've learned how important classroom management is. And to me, classroom management is the foundation of productive learning. And it all really makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I have a baby that is 8 months old, and she has to have consistent routines. We do the same eating, playing, napping schedule every day. So she has a routine and it has to be consistent. Her bedtime is a routine, and when these routines get messed up, then she is totally out of whack. And so it makes sense why this is so important in a classroom. So some things that we learned from Harry Wong, is that consistency is key, that the routines that we do need to be consistent, and that we also need to be consistent in our rules and expectations and procedures. And another big thing of classroom management is organization. That means organizing the classroom and the materials and the day, everything about our classroom. A little bit about my philosophy. The main things I believe are that students need to be nurtured and cared for so that they can learn and grow to their greatest potential. It makes such a difference when you're around kids and in the classroom you can see how different they act when they know that their teacher really cares for them. So this is really important to me. I also believe that the classroom and the management plan should be focused on positivity and respect. Students should respect themselves, and they should also respect their classmates and their teacher. Students need to feel safe and accepted in their classroom. This is part of fostering a community that I believe in, that this classroom should be like a family, and everyone should feel like they are accepted and cared for and have a friend and have someone that they can go to, and that they just feel safe in this classroom. I also believe in teaching students self-control and self-discipline. I don't like the punishment reward system, and I think that if we teach our students proper behavior, then they can discipline themselves. Here is some screenshots of my classroom map. It's kind of hard to see, but I didn't really know how else to explain it best. So you will walk in the door on that second picture over there. You see the door, and right to your right is a closet, and then to the left is a little book reading nook area. There's a bookshelf with a bunch of books and some bean bags for the students to sit on when they're reading, during reading centers, or if they get finished with their work early. And the teacher desk and teacher office area is also right there, and that is strategic. I have the teacher's desk in the back of the classroom so that they can see the entire classroom and what's going on when they are at their desk. Then along the far left wall is really just bulletin boards, a whiteboard, and then another bulletin board all along that wall. And then along the front wall is another bulletin board, the smart board, and then there's a window, and the computers are underneath the window. And then along that right side of the classroom are a whole bunch of bookshelves, ceiling to floor bookshelves, and then there are cubbies and hooks for the students' backpacks and other belongings, and then another bookshelf on the other side. And then there are a countertop and cabinets up above and cabinets down below all along that side of the wall, and a sink that leads up to that closet. And then in front of that countertop and sink is a U-shaped table for small work activity, and that is also towards the back of the classroom so that the teacher can see the students when she is working with small groups. And then the student desks are in the middle in groups of 4 and 5, and I have them facing towards the smart board so that they can see that when I am instructing, and I have the students in groups so that we can use a lot of cooperative group work during instruction. How to foster a safe learning environment. I feel that safety includes physical safety, but also social and emotional safety. Again, that kind of goes along with feeling accepted socially, having friends and people who care for you, and also emotionally safe, that they know that they can go to the teacher and that no one is going to be mean to them. There are going to be school-wide safety procedures also that go towards restroom use in the cafeteria, out on the playground for recess, in the hallways. And so we will obviously follow the procedures that are given by the school that everyone has to follow, and those will be posted in those locations. But every teacher will have a hall pass pad that they can hand out to students that they see in the hallway or in the restroom or the cafeteria at recess. They see them doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They can give them a hall pass, and those will go into a drawing at the end of the week, and the winners will get to have lunch with the principal. There is a no bullying policy school-wide, but my classroom will also have a strict no bullying policy, and I will teach my students all about bullying and the repercussions that it has and how extremely damaging it can be to someone, and I will teach them how important it is to report bullying if they see it, and that in this community we need to look out for each other, and that means reporting when we see something like that happening. I also want to teach strategies for dealing with aggression and anger. Those can be normal things for students, and I think that if we teach them ways to cope with it and deal with it, then we can get ahead of it and prevent it. I will also have a safe area in my classroom that students can go to if they are feeling angry or aggressive, and they can just lay down or listen to music or journal or something to help them deal with those feelings. My classroom rules. Number 1 is respect yourself and others. I feel like that is very important. It's important for your success. You need to respect yourself so that you do your best work, and also obviously respecting others goes with a lot of things, with your words, with your actions, helping each other, just being there, being a part of a community. Number 2, following directions the first time they are given. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to waste time repeating directions. Raising your hand for permission to speak. I feel like this sounds kind of bossy, but I really have seen the same thing for staying in your seat unless you have permission to get up. That it wastes time, and it's chaotic when students are blurting out and they're getting up out of their seats and walking around. It just interrupts the instruction time. My consequences, I want to use logical consequences. Again, I don't like punishment and rewards, so they're just things like, if you keep blurting out, then I'm going to ignore you and you're not going to get to participate in the activity or discussion. And if you continue to get up out of your seat, then you're not going to get to line up first, or things like that. Procedures. There will be a morning procedure: coming in quietly, hanging up your backpacks, doing your lunch count, sharpening 3 pencils, and working on your morning work. We will obviously have emergency procedures that make sure we know what to do in case of a tornado, a lockdown, anything like that. And you will stop what you're doing, look at the teacher, listen to the teacher, and follow their directions. A transitioning procedure, so that transitions go smoothly and you don't waste time. It's the 1, 2, 3. 1, stop and clean up. 2, stand up behind your chair. And 3, move. There will be procedures for students in need. So if they need to get up, if they need a tissue, if they need a drink of water, and those are the finger signs holding up 1, 2, 3, and so on, fingers. And then, of course, dismissal procedure. This will be gathering your belongings, packing up your backpack, sitting on the floor for the teacher to read, and then lining up in the correct line. I feel like this is such a safety thing that students get where they're supposed to be going and don't go to the bus when they're being picked up or so on. Behavior management. I want to emphasize and encourage positive behavior as much as I can. And this is acknowledging good behavior so that students around see, that they're getting acknowledged for their good behavior, so they also want to do that. I'll send home little positive notes, and students will be able to earn free time. For the negative behaviors, I will ignore the minor behaviors that aren't posing a threat or interrupting things. Again, we'll use logical consequences. If those two things don't work, then they will take a break and go to a designated area, and they will write an action plan for how they're going to improve the behavior that they're having. If it's serious, I will send them to a buddy room, and if it is a dangerous, severe behavior, they will get an office referral. Accommodations for diverse students. The main thing is that I'm there to teach appropriate behavior to all students, no matter what their needs are. And I will obviously consider the developmental level of each of my students and then adjust my rules and procedures as needed. I will use RTI, response to intervention, to see where the students are at and what kind of accommodations and interventions they need, and do everything I can to help them to improve so that they don't need to go to special education. I'll use differentiated instruction, scaffolding, and cooperative group work to meet the diverse needs of my students. I will follow IEPs to a T. That's what they're there for. And again, I really want to make my students feel valued and accepted, especially those with special needs. I will model my rules because sometimes students with special needs don't understand them at the same level, and they need to be reminded. And ultimately, I will create a safe environment for them physically and emotionally. Communication with parents. I plan to have a meet your teacher night so that the students and their parents can meet me. I will give them a letter about myself, and I will also get to meet and learn about them before the school year starts. On the first day of school, I'll send home a copy of rules and procedures for the parents. Every day I plan to write a little note in the students' planners. If they're having a good day, it will just be like a smiley face or a great day. And then for any behavior problems, I will just write a short note of what happened and how we solved the problem. I will also send home a monthly newsletter that tells about the events, the things we're learning, and any resources for the parents. They can email, text, or call me at any time, and if it's more of a serious issue, we will have a conference, and I will also have conferences as the school does every semester. And I will encourage the parents to volunteer and get involved in our school so they can see what's going on. Some of the models I really liked was Gordon's Discipline as Self-Control. This model is about owning the behavior, taking control of the things that you did and being responsible for changing that behavior. It goes along with my self-discipline, and it also focuses on empathetic understanding, and empathy is a strength of mine and something that I definitely want to use in my classroom management plan. I also really liked Shriver's Community of Caring. This model focuses on 5 core values: respect, care, trust and moral consciousness, responsibility, and family. And these things I feel like go right along with my values as a Christian, things that I really want to do in my life, not just my teaching, but in everything. And so I feel like as a teacher that those are things that my students deserve my respect and my care. I want them to trust me. I will always bring my morals into my teaching, and I want their families to be involved. I think family involvement is very important.